Hello there. Welcome to Tubi Tuesday. I'm Scotty. You're not. And today we are talking about a dirty work from 1998 starring Norm Macdonald, Artie Lang, Jack Warden, Traylor Howard, sort of, and the last film of Chris Farley. So, I always wanted to see this movie. I saw it was on Tubi. I'm like, this is what I have to do. By the way, I know this is like the third or fourth episode in. I think it's the third right now. This will be the fourth episode in. But how do you guys liking the new title cards I put together? I just took like a picture of the movie and I put the new things, and I thought about doing it for this and the Stephen King Saturday Night, which I've only done one so far. If you're this far in, you know it was the first one I did, which was Ride the Bullet. Which I thought was okay, but left me disappointed, watch that video, by the way. By this time it's up. I'm going to do more Stephen King stuff, but I'm trying to do the Tubi Tuesday stuff first. I don't know, but I saw this and I had to check it out. Norm Macdonald, I think, is one of the funniest guys out there. I think. May he rest in peace. He and Chris Farley are reunited in heaven, so yeah. I think he's great. He's always had like that deadpan delivery that's always worked for him. I loved his what do you call it? The news thing on SNL when he used to do that. I thought it was funny. I mean, Dennis Miller was great too, and even Colin Jost and Michael Che are good too. But they've always had the good news segment people. Weekend Update. They've always been good with the Weekend Update people, But Norm Macdonald is one of my favorites, and Artie Lang is also. I think he's hilarious. I watched a stand-up special of his, and he just made me laugh my ass off. He's one of the funniest comedians I've ever seen. And of course, Chris Farley, who may be just overused in this film. Nothing to say against him. I know it's his last film, but he keeps popping up throughout the movie, and I thought that when he first appears, it was just a one-note joke. Because that's all it is. He had his nose bit off by a Tunisian whore, whatever you call her. An Asian hooker bit his nose off. And that was the joke, okay? You got one scene where they kind of, he gets mad and he's like, I'll buy you a beer. All right. And that's it. But he keeps popping up throughout the film, leading to another scene off screen where he gets his nose bit off. And I saw it coming. I'm like, don't do it, because it's not funny. It's not going to be funny if you do it. And they did it. It's like, oh, you bit my new nose off. And I went, it would have been fine if they just drove off. But the way he was acting, the way he was yelling at her, I saw it coming from either way. And it wasn't funny to me. Like, if you had him in that one scene, I think it would have been fine. But he pops up. There's a scene where he's yelling at skunks. I don't know. He was clearly, not saying anything bad about Chris Farley, but at this point in his life, he was clearly gone. Like I heard stories like he tried and tried, but at the end of his life, he was just, I don't know. He has some of the funniest stuff on SNL. Tommy Boy and Black Sheep were great. I've never been able to get through Beverly Hills Ninja. I've tried. I just can't. Sorry. But, funny guy. Rest in peace. But, I don't know. But this movie was pushed back. Partially because of Farley's death. But also, it was supposed to be rated R. Which surprised me that it wasn't. I had to look it up. I'm like, what is it? PG-13? Really? It was supposed to be R. And you can feel that with some of the jokes you think should be more. Like, there should be more to some jokes. Even with some of the language that they were saying, the subtitles on Tubi were editing that as well. Like, but you could hear the words say like hookers and stuff, but it was like missing a word and then or changed, So the story here is that Mitch and Artie Lang's character, I can't remember his name. They're friends, lifelong friends. They always had a thing where someone wrongs them, they get revenge on them. And so they've grown up. Mitch didn't have a dad, so it was Artie Lang's father, Pops, that helped raise him, basically. And now Pops, in his old age, played by Jack Warden, by the way, has a heart attack. And they need $50,000 to pay Dr. Chevy Chase to get a new heart for Pops, a heart transplant. Also, so he can pay off his bookies, because he's a gambler. But part of me is wondering, so he needs to pay off his bookies so that he can perform the heart surgery. But if the money's going to the bookies, how they pay for the new heart? I don't know. It's a head scratcher for me. I don't understand. Maybe they explain it better, but I don't know. I was waiting for the joke where he ran off with it. But they do a joke after they get money. He's like, how much in bed? I'm not going to go to my bookie. No, you got to go to your bookie. You got to go to your bookie and pay it off. That sort of thing. The love interest thing didn't work for me at all. They don't try hard enough with this. Like, they meet each other at a bar, and then Mitch and Artie Lang, they get into a bar fight, which, by the way, the soundtrack in this is pretty good. You got Semi-Charmed Life. And when they're in the bar, you can hear Good by Better Than Ezra. It's the song that goes, it was good living with you, it was good, that one playing in the back, right? In the background, I should say. And that's even funnier, that there was a joke that Norm Macdonald did on SNL when he was doing a weekend update. He said, number 1 on the music charts this week, Better Than Ezra. Number 2, Ezra. I just think it's funny. You know what song's not on the soundtrack anywhere? I don't want to do your dirty work no more. Nowhere. I kept waiting. Did I have enough money to license that song? There's nowhere. I'm like, surely it will play in the credits. No, it didn't. And don't call me Shirley. It just wasn't there. And I'm going, why? What happened? That song is called Dirty Work. Why wasn't it in the movie? It's baffling to me. Maybe they didn't have the rights for it. I don't know. Maybe they just couldn't secure the rights. Maybe it was too much. And the other 2 songs were more hip and current with the time. And that one was an oldie. So, I don't know. I like the song. I was waiting for it to pop up. So, to pay for $50,000, they decide to open a business where they basically, it's called Dirty Work. They get revenge on people, they do the dirty work, the people don't have to get their hands dirty. So they're doing stuff like setting up this the owner of a car dealership, which the love interest always, works for. I forgot to continue from that. They meet in a bar, right? And the next time you see her, she's working at this car dealership across the street from where they are. And he gets her fired. And then we don't see her again till she just meets her up walking down the street maybe halfway through the film. And that leads to what's supposed to be a punchline or like an awakening to them or something to show him that, hey, what you're doing is not right, but he doesn't get it because he's an idiot. We're going to talk about that. And then she's mad at him for doing this, but she and like the hookers he hired before and some homeless people, one of which is Fred Wolf, writer from SNL, and probably a writer for this film, most likely. Yeah, I think he was funny. He's like, did you fart? Oh no, that was me from earlier. I don't know, I laughed at that. He goes, excuse me. Oh, I bet I stink. Yeah, I know. Oh, and I just farted too. He's kind of funny. But, and then at the end, he's like, well, yeah, I even got the girl. And I'm like, how? He's like, you find me very attractive. You're a immense sexual attraction to me. Or something like that. And she's just like, and then at the end, it's just, you don't get any conclusion with it. You're just like, oh yeah, I even got the girl. And I'm like, wait, why didn't you show us that? What? no, there's no chemistry between them, and it's not even written well. By the way, Bob Saget directed this, and I love Bob Saget. May he rest in peace. But I don't know. This was good camera stuff, I guess, but no yawn. Bad. Bad's good. Bad. Bad. Oh. Anyway, so yeah, the whole lot of interesting. There's also something else that's revealed. It's revealed that Pops is actually Mitch's dad too, but Pops won't let Mitch tell him until eventually towards the end of the film, because this is the part where everyone breaks up. Mitch and the girl, they go opposite directions, and then Mitch and Artie Lang go opposite directions. It's the third act breakup cliche, but this is now a romantic comedy, but still. But like it's like 10 minutes before he gets back together with him. So the whole thing concerns this apartment building that Shooter McGavin here, Christopher McDonald's character here is a wealthy sleazebag. Mitch and Artie Lang, I can't remember Artie Lang's character's name. Sorry, Sam. Mitch and Sam. I popped up in my head. Mitch and Sam, they ruin an apartment building that belongs to him, so he plans to get revenge by telling him that there is an apartment building where a bunch of hookers or whores, whatever, work out of. And it's very obvious where it's going to go. This guy's lying through his teeth just to get this place shut down. And this ends up being where love interest's grandmother lives, and works. They run a sewing business out of the apartment. Now, because Mitch is a total dumbass, when he hears this, he thinks that she's basically a pimp selling hookers out of there, and still ruins the place. And I'm just waiting for him to come back around again. I'm just like, This is where I was like, okay, he's an idiot, but he's not that dumb. Like, even Sam is trying to say, like, I don't know, but they go along with it anyway. And they deface the property, and it's going to get condemned. And basically this guy won. When they go to get the $50,000 from him, he won't pay him. But due to the fact that Mitch, I knew there had to be some reason why they kept doing it, where he talks into a video recorder, not to self. It's because there is there's the payoff of that he left it on, so everything that was said in the office with McDonald was on there. So he uses it to, gain leverage. They go to this opera thing. He brings the hookers. Pops, for some reason, who has a bad heart but is running around after the fat lady wanting to bang her. God bless Jack Warden. May he rest in peace. I believe he passed away. If he didn't, then I'm sorry, sir. And good for you, still being alive, but I'm pretty sure he passed away. He was the grandpa in Problem Child movies. He's the only one to be in all three movies. Oh, and Gilbert Gottfried. But they're the only three to be in it. But yeah, and so he's like, oh, hey, I got this. What are you gonna do? You're gonna give me $50,000? Writes a check. I would have asked for cash, because checks bounce, my man. He writes a check, and then he has the owner of the building punch him in the stomach, because the punched Artie Lang earlier. So he punched Sam, whatever. I should have shut that door. You could hear the outside. Anyway, him in the stomach, because that's this character's thing. And then he has him sign a thing that keeps the apartment building safe. Of course, they have to get it fixed. Then he's like, hey, you think it's going to happen? He destroys the thing. He destroys the tape. And he's like, now you have nothing. And I'm going to call my lawyer. And that check's not going to go through. And that thing I just signed, that's not going to do anything. And then they tackle each other. They land on a fat lady, because fat lady sings, and they say, "Hey, you're playing it out over the loudspeaker." Now they did the joke when he goes to play it that it's a memo to self about something. Okay, that's a little funny. But they do it again 5 minutes later. Play it here. Note to self: get pimple cream for the big pimple on my ass. And I'm like, okay, you didn't need to do another one. And we don't even hear the thing over the loudspeaker. I mean, we heard it before, but they said he goes to jail, and now this guy has this brownie that made them itch because when at the beginning of the movie they were going around just trying to get odd jobs to get money, but it's not working. And so, yeah, they end up winning in the end. And then just randomly, as he's narrating, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got the girl. Sam and I are fine as brothers, which is kind of really glossed over. Like, there's a running joke where Mitch wants to tell him, but the dad, Pops, keeps intervening. At one point, he just grabs his balls and holds on to him, and then they have an argument over it, and then they're fine like the next day. And the brothers now, there's a joke that, hey, remember when you were looking at my sister's skirt? Turns out it was your sister too. Yeah, remember when I had sex with her? Okay, let's talk about something else. Anyway, so it ends with like a narration of everything that's happened, and then he's like, oh, yeah, and then Dr. Chevy Chase gave the money to the bookies, got the heart transplant done, but the bookies still killed him. So he's dead, and the movie just ends, and I'm like, what an odd way to end the movie. But it's a very Norm Macdonald thing. It feels like he put that in there, so it's a very Norm Macdonald thing to do. To me, this was the middle of the road. It was fine for what it was. I laughed. I had a good time with it, which is all you can ask for a movie anyway. But I don't know. Like, the love interest thing could have been worked out more. There were some jokes that were very obvious. You need to go in that direction. Then again, had they figured out what was going on earlier with the building, the movie would have been shorter. So I see why they had to do it, but it was too. For me, it was a little obvious. I felt like that they should have done it to the building, and then he bumps into the love interest, and the love interest comes after him, yells at him. He's like, "What? We just got rid of some hookers." And he's like, "Hookers? My aunt or whatever lives in that building." That's what it was, her aunt. My aunt lives in that building. Your aunt's a hooker? No, she ran a sewing business. That sort of thing. Like the fact that they hinted at it to them and they still didn't get it to me. I felt like this should have went in blind, not realizing anything, not knowing any information. Because the fact that they knew some information and just went ahead and did it anyway was just like, no, you're not that dumb. And Chris Farley, God rest his soul, his role should have been a little bit shorter. I was fine with it being a cameo at the beginning. Maybe like a cameo at the beginning and then a thing in the end, but don't have her bite his nose off again. Maybe like cameo at the beginning where he's established his nose got bit off, and in the end he drives up, got a new nose, and has a little bit of laughs and then drives off. That would have been a good send off for Chris Farley. He got a new nose, but hey, I bought Jimmy a new nose, sort of thing. He drives by, thanks, pal, and then you just sort of end on that. You didn't need. I don't know. I felt like his presence throughout the film was a little too much. No offense to Chris Farley, may rest in peace. But I'm just saying. I don't know. Maybe he's a little too much in this film. As wild as he got on SNL and some other movies, this might be a little too far. And I don't blame him. He was way out by this point. But yeah, it's the middle of the road. But so, what are your thoughts on Dirty Work? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.